you can assume that this session will be a break for you guys. So I will try to make it simple. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Eslam Medhat. I live in Cairo, in Egypt. I'm also a Google developer expert in Firebase and working currently as a full-time software engineer in a company called SciShield as a Flutter developer. So as Mike said, we are going to talk about Flutter updates. So about maybe 1 or 2 days ago, there was an event called Google I/O, and I assume everyone knows what is Google I/O. So in this event, they are talk about the updates and anything Google need to announce. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about Flutter updates in specific. In this event, as we know, we have a mega event called, for example, every year we have a Flutter festival event, we have a Flutter Day event. So Flutter team in Google, they do their own events and publish the latest updates in Flutter as a framework or in Dart as a programming language. So, but in I/O, they also spread some updates about Flutter and Dart. So in Flutter, we are now have a new version in Flutter 3.22, and we have also a new version in Dart called 3.4. So in this updates, we have some new features, some new improvements, some new extensions, some new add-ons, and some areas like Flutter Games and Flutter for Web and so on. So I'm not going to say what is Flutter and so on because we all know that Flutter is a framework to run your code or run your application in many other platforms like mobile and web and desktop applications. So in each area, Flutter added a new update. For example, for web, there is a major updates in web, Flutter for web, and also for games, we have a major update in Flutter for games. We have also some improvements in native applications like Android and iOS applications. So let's get started. So our first update in Flutter, which is a performance improvements. As we know, Flutter use a Pillar rendering engine to render the UI and the visual widgets in the mobile application. They are improved the Emperor engine, and this updates lead us to reduce the CPU usage, especially in iOS. We are going to see later on in iOS, they are reduced the CPU usage to 50%. So now the widgets run very smoothly in iOS. And also, this results makes the application more responsive to users. So the user experience will be seamless and will be much better than before. And for iOS, as we said, there is a significant improvement, include smoother visuals and lower CPU usage. So in iOS operating system, they improved how the engine will render in the iOS application, so it will be much smoother than before. In Android also, they updated the Android predictive back. So the idea of predictive back features is for navigation, for example, from navigating from a screen to another screen, they updated this package or this feature. So the navigation at all in Android will be much smoother and easier to handle and user-friendly. So they updated a small update in Android, but it's also an update. So nothing new in Android native, but the big update was in iOS. For Android, just they updated the predictive back features. And for the WebAssembly, this is a major update in Flutter for Web, because they are integrated with WebAssembly to bring better performance and compatibility with web applications. built with Flutter. What does this mean? I'm going to discuss it later in the presentation, but the idea of Flutter for web, they used WebAssembly. So the Dart team make a partner with Google Chrome or Chrome team. So they used Dart language in some cases. Like for example, they used garbage collector. So there is a native code in Dart used collector, and this garbage collector enhance the performance of the web application used by Flutter. And we are going to see later on the difference and how Flutter for web is much more good than before. So also we have another update for Google AdMob. As we know, for mobile developers, they can use AdMobs to monetize your application or ads or add some ads in your application. So they expanded some more options and allow developers to integrate ads in more efficiently way and more easily way. So they added some more extensions, some more add-ons in Flutter Ad, so you can now add your ads in your application in more efficiently. Also, they add some enhancement in development tools, especially in deep link. So the idea is they added a new powerful deep link validator. So when it comes to adding deep link in your application, sometimes you get an error. It's a little bit not. The idea is they just enhanced the dev tools inside the deep link validator, so it will give you a better way to handle the deep linking in your application, and you can catch all the errors inside the deep link integration. And also they added a Dart fix way in your IDE directly. So you can enjoy a very straight way to API migration directly using the IDE, using Dartfix. So you can simplify the code maintenance and updates. So as we know in Flutter, sometimes when you have an error or warning, you can see the Dart analysis saying you can use Dartfix to fix the issues in your application. So they enhanced this command line and enhanced this feature inside your IDE, and you can use Dartfix directly inside your IDE. Also, for the profiling, if you are using Android Profiler in Android Studio, they enhanced some new features. They added some new capabilities in the Android profiling option, so you can now have a deeper insights about your app performance. You can see how the app is performing in the memory and network layer and so on. So now Android Profiler is also better than before. And this is a major update also in Flutter, which is AI integration using Vertex AI. As we know, Vertex AI is powered by Gemini. So you can now add the AI capability in your application using Vertex AI, especially for Firebase Dart SDK. So for example, if you have a Flutter application and you integrated Firebase in your application, with enabling Vertex AI, you will have the chance to enable the AI platform API and the Firebase machine learning API inside your application. So you can make your application more powerful using the AI features, especially the Vertex AI and, of course, the Gemini capability, like enhancing the application capability using some AI functionality and so on. Okay, so also we have some new success stories in Flutter. There is a company called Virgin Money in United Kingdom. They are using Flutter in their mobile banking application, and they also using credit card apps and some other applications. So they are depending on Flutter. So this is showing us how Flutter interact with the community, how big companies depend on Flutter. And also, there is another company called Geico. It's also used Flutter to brand user experience across iOS and Android and reduce the size of the code base so they can increase the development efficiency and they can focus on the features, not on developing applications. And we have another success story for Universal Studios destinations and experiences. So this is, if you know Universal Studios or Universal Hollywood, for example, Park and Orland Parks. So they are released a new Flutter application for their parks, and you can use this application, for example, to ordering food inside the park or going to a specific game or anything else. So I added a video so we can have a look to this video.
Eslam, you don't have audio. I don't know if that's intended or not.
The audio is not working.
No, you have to stop sharing, and when you reshare again, there's a check mark to share.
Okay,
well.
let me. Okay.
Is it? And it's not.
Now it's working.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
The experiences really are the stars of our show here. So we wanted to build an app that could take that vision well into the future.
When you visit Universal Destination Experiences, our goal is total immersion. Whether you need to navigate through the park or you need to order food directly from your phone, our app was built from the ground up to ensure you have the ultimate visit. And it's not just a map, it's your personalized guide, and it's your gateway into our connected experiences. And it's all at your fingertips.
2 years ago, as we thought about rebuilding the app, we really came to a pivotal spot. Do we stick with what we know, or do we really think beyond that? Think about something different, perhaps a cross-platform solution.
The transition to Flutter has given us opportunities to reduce the size of our app and has helped with consistency by giving us a single code base. We use Crashlytics, and when we rolled out our Flutter apps, we quickly saw the number of crashes go down to almost zero. And when we do have any issues, we've been able to correct them and push the fix out to the app and Play stores in less than 24 hours. Using Flutter enables us to future-proof the app, have increased scalability, and release quickly and often. This has proven especially useful in pairing the launch of in-park attractions with connected experiences within our app. Connected experiences allow us to go beyond the physical realm of what's in the park, and we can augment and personalize the experience for each guest. We originally built these experiences with a dedicated game engine, and moving them to Flutter allowed us to build something equally performant, but more lightweight and much easier to maintain as part of our core code base.
Our transition to Flutter has been seamless. We can build so much faster. What used to take us weeks now takes us days. And overwhelmingly on social and our qualitative feedback, it's been positive. And our App Store reviews are starting to spike. As you go into the park and you see people using the app, friends and families laughing, just having a great time. It's the ultimate reward knowing that the technology that you built is enriching the moments that make these memories last a lifetime.
Everything we do at Universal Destinations and Experiences really is based on years of innovation, creativity, and storytelling. We feel we're just scratching the surface of what we can do with Flutter in the future.
Okay, so as we saw, the Universal Destination companies, they developed a new application using a Flutter and they depending on it. So now let's jump into WebAssembly. So Flutter is trying to focus on how the performance in web will be look like. So they used WebAssembly to browsing the Flutter application. So they did a collaboration with Chrome team, as I said. They added a proposal or they implemented some new features in Dart. especially with Chrome, and also Firefox 120 version, and other new browsers will be expected to support it very soon. So they partnered with Google Chrome team to define support the high-level managed language like Dart in WebAssembly. So as Dart is using garbage collector, so they are using garbage collector inside their application or their website. So now the transition, for example, the animations in the website will be much more smooth and so on. Also, they added some Dart compiler backend code related to garbage collector, and it will enhance the Dart performance with WebAssembly. Also, the integration with the Dart team and Flutter team collaborated to enable some app code inside Dart. So the Flutter rendering engine will be run smoothly, and the integration, of course, with WebAssembly is now maximizing the performance and reducing overhead. So I'm going to see you how the difference between compiled Dart code using WebAssembly and compiled it to JavaScript. As we can see, we have two versions of the same application. We can see some lag in the version using JavaScript. The animation is a little bit laggy, and the transitions also is not so smooth. So if you compile your application to WebAssembly in Flutter, the speed of the application and the speed of the transition and the animation will be more faster, because they collect the garbage and handling the memory and the performance more well than before. Okay, so we have another update also called Dart macros. The idea of Dart macros is you can use annotation for code capable, JSON capable, or JSON codable. I will show it to you in a second. The idea of Dart macros is you can use it in data classes to create, for example, JSON or JSON serializable annotation. Like, for example, we in Flutter, when we need to handling a data class or retrieving data from an API, so we're handling this using the .to.json and .from.json built-in function. So usually we use to handle it manually using the data class and the constructor, and adding the to.json function and from.json function. Lately, I know we used a package called freezed, but as we know, sometimes you don't need to depend on packages, because in Flutter there is a lot of open source packages you can use it, but after amount of time the developer developed this package will stop developing or updating this package. So we need to make sure that we're handling the application in the official way, Flutter documentation, using Flutter documentation official. So they added a new feature called JSON codable. It will handle or reduce the need of manual encoding and decoding boilerplate code. So it's a real-time code generation, but it enhances the productivity by generating necessary code and maintains the compatibility with tools. So as we can see here in this GIF, we have a class called vehicle, and we have two variables, and we're adding here a function. So as we can see, we add a notation called JSON codable. Now we can access the .to.json function, and this function now it's built in. So inside this function, we can see everything related to the vehicle class and the vehicle data class. So this is just an easy way to handling the data classes in Dart. As we can see before, there is no .to.json function after adding the annotation for JSON codable. So now we can add the .to.json function in very easily way. So that's all for the code macros update in Flutter. And now we have a major update in Flutter for games. So as we know, we can use Flutter to develop games. Before we used 2D, now we can use 3D. So Flutter games development, there is a new resources and some also success story. So we can see a big two companies in game development like Ethermax and Supercell. If you know Supercell, this is a company who's developed Clash of Clans and Palm Beach and some other mobile applications, which is very common. So they are using the Flutter to empower the flexibility and deliver exceptional user experience and expand their reach. So also Flutter did a partnership with we will see in a second a So Loud audio studio. So Supercell, as I said, it's depend on Flutter to creating some other games. So now also Flutter team did a collaboration with community. We have they are partnered with a member called Marco to develop So Loud. So Loud, it's an audio engine. So now the audio inside the applications or the games, it will be a high quality audio. It will be easy to integrate. So there is a new code lab. You can use it in Google for developers to implement the music using So Loud. So you can have an overview of how to integrate So Loud in your game application using Flutter. So yeah, so we have also some new changes, some new updates in game mechanics and physical simulation. So Flutter team added some other physics, like for example, Fork 2D, and this Fork 2D inspired by Box 2D to craft the game mechanics with a robust 2D physics simulation in your Flutter application game. So also Flutter did a collaboration with a company called Global Citizen. They created a game challenge. So in this game challenge, a lot of developers created games using Flutter, and Flutter team featured these games in an official video in their YouTube channel. So also Flutter added some enhancement in the game load speed. When opening a game, there is a loading screen appeared in the beginning. So they added some enhancement to optimize this game loading speed. So the players ensure that they don't leave the game because of the game is loading slow. And this is a video showing a Global Citizen company in partnership with Flutter. They created a global game challenge, and there is some winners. So in this video, they are showcasing the winners of the games used by Flutter. And let's see it. Yeah, so this video was showing up the winners of the Game Global Challenge. And I think, yeah, that's all what Flutter team discussed in Google I.O. So let's summarize what we discussed today. So there is a new integration with Vertex AI in Firebase Dart SDK. So you can use the Gemini API for adding AI functionality and capability in your application. And also, this SDK is integrated with Firebase App Check, so you can protect your API calls and safeguard your backend infrastructure from serious threats like billing fraud and phishing and so on. Also, the Impeller rendering engine is now updated, so now its Flutter engine is faster than before. Also, they updated the Android protective back, as I said. It's supporting the navigation in your application. So in Android native, you can now navigate to another application or, for example, to a home screen much better than before. Also, for iOS, they added performance optimize. They reduced the CPU usage by up to 50%. So now the platform view in iOS is now much better. Also, they added or extended some support, add partner and mediation option, so you can see more partners in mobile Google Ad or mobile ad SDK. And for DevTools, they added a new deep link validator to help or identify the troubleshoot errors in your Android deep link configuration, so you can connect your web experience to Flutter apps in more efficient way. And also for Dartfix, they added an API migration tool. You can invoke it directly from the IDE you are using. And for your DevTools, they are also support some advanced filtering and CPU samples in the timeline. And I talked before about the profiler. They added some feature to Android profiler, so you can analyze your application also. And that's all for today's session. One last thing, I have a YouTube channel. I have around 300 video in this YouTube channel discussing Flutter and Dart and Firebase, and also Android native using Java and Kotlin, and also chatbots using Google Dialogflow. So if you need any coding experience or any technical sessions, you can find it there. I make sure to record all the videos in sometimes in 4K, but it's all of them in Full HD, so you will find a good quality watch. But I have a bad announce. It's almost all the videos in Arabic, but I will make sure to add a translation. So that's all for today's session. So if you have any question, write it in the chat so I can see it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was
Thank you so much.
the WebAssembly stuff and all of that.
Mhm.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, they added some good features.
So what everyone please write your questions in the stage chat. I'm just gonna quickly get to the general chat just in case people accidentally write stuff there, but I think not. So stage chat it is. I'm curious. So what's if you could go over back to what's your role? What's like, because we had that question in the last talk, and I'm curious, what does a day-to-day look like for you?
Okay, for me, I'm working remotely, so I'm just wake up and eat my breakfast, then start see my Jira tasks and spend some time in coding, then maybe 1 hour or 2 hours learning some new things, because in programming, or in if you are a programmer, so you need literally every day to learn something new. So I'm spending some time in, for example, watching Google I/O events, watching some playlists I'm following in YouTube, some YouTubers, and then play football and some other stuff. So nothing special, but I'm enjoying Flutter. Before I was an Android native using Kotlin, and currently I'm focusing on Flutter for plus 3 or 4 years. So I'm enjoying it a lot. There is a new challenges facing me every day in Flutter. Sometimes I need to handling it using native. So yeah, I'm enjoying it actually.
And your writing is just to clarify here, Flutter uses Dart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so we clearly saw that it's a lot more advanced and performant in many ways.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
what do you personally think about that? So working before in Kotlin and all that, and compared to this and Dart with Flutter, how do you think it performs for you in your experience?
Yes, actually, Flutter, to be honest, it's easy than native. Not so much easy, but it's everything like built in Flutter. You can use some widgets, built-in widgets. You can use some packages which make it easy for you. But the main challenge for me is when it comes to adding native application inside your Flutter application, like adding a platform channel method and so on. So you need to be familiar with native in Android and in iOS also.
Mhm.
So here it comes, the challenges in Flutter. So this is also, I'm enjoying it because I'm facing every time I'm facing some new challenges. So the community in Flutter is getting bigger. So yeah, I can search, I can find the solutions for these challenges.
At this moment, what do you feel the maturity level is of Flutter compared to something else?
Yeah, actually, it's much better than before. When Flutter comes in 2017, I can remember there's no jobs, there's no opportunities in Flutter. Maybe in 2019 or 2020, you can see some freelance projects, and that's it. But from what I see now, there is a big companies, especially in the fintech industry and the financial
Mhm.
application. They are depending on Flutter. I worked for 1 year and a half for a company in Saudi Arabia creating a financial application for a bank. So they are spending money in Flutter. They are trust Flutter now. So you can see also full-time jobs in Flutter.
Hmm.
But to be honest, the competition is not fair because there is many Flutter developers. So you need to be a unique developer. So, like if you have a familiarity with Android, or you have some other advantages. So once you find a full-time job in Flutter, you will like it because Flutter is updated daily.
Mhm.
So you will enjoy the experience of learning something new and developing something new, and you will find yourself you are a unique. So
That's interesting how it almost feels like it sort of exploded overnight and it grew exponentially since between
yes,
2017, 2020, you had that's a couple of years of not much happening, and then now you have so many Flutter developers and
exactly.
competing for the jobs. That's
Mhm.
interesting that you say that banking adopted Flutter. Why do you think that is? That's a weird thing.
Yeah, but the idea for every company is they need to reduce the spending money of developers, the spending money of the technology. So when they see that Flutter is stable enough to depend on it, so why not to hire only one developer to create a Flutter application instead of creating two native developers for Android and iOS?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And also Flutter team is active, and if you follow the Flutter documentation, so everything there. And what I like from, to be honest, from Flutter and React Native is that Flutter is building the project native inside the Flutter project,
Hmm.
so you can have access to Android app as a native and iOS app application as a native. So you can open this application in Android Studio as Android native application and
Ah,
editing
okay.
the coding, and then come back to Flutter. So that's why I like Flutter.
Hmm. That's interesting. It's just I find it interesting that banking would adopt this. I mean, it makes sense from a financial point of view, but we all know that banks aren't the most risk
Uh,
friendly people, so that's why I found it interesting that it would adopt a fairly new or fairly young technology,
mhm.
whereas all of their backends are still in Java 8 or something.
Yeah, the idea is they also following the best practice in security, and they are just using Flutter for like UI component, not everything handling like in the backend option. So the risk is much less than doing all the logic in the front end layer.
Mm-hmm.
So they handling everything related to security away from Flutter. So you just in Flutter calling an API and publish the data in the view. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think the future of Flutter is going to be?
Yeah, I can see Flutter is updating rapidly. Every couple of months, you can see a new update. As I said in the session in IO or in Flutter Festival event, so it keeps updating. So you just need to be updated with anything appear in Flutter. Also, I can see Google team is pushing forward for Flutter. They are listening to developers. If you add a question in Twitter, so they are responding to you, they are active. So all of this signs make you a trust in Flutter and spending more time on it. Uh, but my advice is try to learn something related to AI and machine learning besides Flutter, because AI and machine learning field is also the future, and the the subject you can, for example, if you need to switch from Flutter to be a machine learning expert or something. Also, you can use AI capabilities and machine learning capabilities in Flutter, so you can add more powerful features in your application. But what I'm saying, for me as Islam, I'm trying to mastering machine learning and AI for future, so I can use Flutter as just a framework to create an application, but I mainly will be focused in AI and machine learning. But I will not leave Flutter, because Flutter is a very fast way to create an application and a very fast way to in development time, and as we know, to support everything in native, like null safety and so on. So for me, I cannot find any risks in Flutter. I will continue using it. And in the industry, we can see many full-time jobs opening and many opportunities opening in Flutter. So, yeah, the future is good.
That's fair enough. And plus, I mean, the whole point of the AI for us developers is to sort of mix and match it, right? So that all the boilerplate stuff can be generated automatically, so we can focus on
Yeah.
the design. And I don't mean just visual design, just like the architecture design of it.
Yeah, actually, Flutter is as the previous speaker talked about block and state management. So you can use many different design pattern in Flutter. So the one you are comfortable with and the one is good enough for the project, you can use it. So Flutter, you have many options. You have many choices in Flutter. So yeah.
I find it interesting how Google tried to make Dart a thing way before Flutter, and they didn't really succeed in that. And then they made Flutter. Now it's this huge thing.
Yeah, they try to make a programming language instead of JavaScript.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're depending it in Flutter. Yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the difference between Dart and JavaScript?
Actually, it's like the same, just small changes in the syntax. But Dart in the beginning, it was expected to using to develop web applications. So they literally the same. But Dart in Flutter, actually, I can see it is a very a very speed and very good in Flutter. They're supporting everything, for example, in Java and Kotlin. So if you are familiar with Java and Kotlin, you will not find it difficult to write Dart code. So yeah, Dart is a much simpler, or it's simple to use. So
personally, I hope that it's not exactly like JavaScript, because JavaScript in the background kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know.
We have a question. Any thoughts on flutterflow.io?
Okay. Actually, I don't have many thoughts about Flutter Flow because I didn't use it too much. But it's just from what I remember, it's just a UI tool to drag and drop and building a mobile application. But actually, we can use it for just prototyping and demos application. But yeah, it's good to have, good to know, but you will not depend on it. So try go forward or go straight to learn Dart and Flutter.
I just clicked on the link, and yeah, you're right. It looks like a quick prototyping tool.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Okay, Eslam, thank you very much. I'm gonna turn on my camera as well. Here we go. So yeah, thank you very much. We have one more question. Where can we get some demos of Flutter games 3D or tutorials to develop? Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah. Actually, for Flutter games, I don't know, but we can search for Flutter games tutorials. I'm not a Flutter game developer, but yeah, for demos, I can see some. If you go to Flutter, for example, .dev, you can see some showcasing applications in this website. All of these companies using Flutter. So if you need to go to someone and, for example, see how the Flutter applications look like, you can use it. Also, I'm using Google Developers or Google Code Labs a lot. So if you need to try some demos in Flutter, you can just select the technology you need or the framework you need to use, and you can see a lot of code labs, a lot of demos you can use in Flutter, and it also Flutter with, for example, Google Maps, Google Cloud, Firebase, and so on. So these code labs are really helpful. I'm using it a lot.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this invitation. I hope that attendees liked my session, and inshallah, see you later in person.
Yes. So yeah, thank you. Thank you to you, and I'm sure everyone learned something today. And